welcome to my yoga room. Hey everybody who's just joining. We're just kind of waiting for everybody to hop on, giving them a few minutes. Good, so if you guys want to get ready, all you really need is comfortable clothes. A yoga mat is good. If you have a hard floor, you can do this just on carpet, is fine. If you have a folded blanket, we might use that for the knees if we go down. I'm not sure we're going to do that yet. And just have some water, and it is best if you can see yourself in a mirror, just to really hold yourself accountable and have that good form. So yeah, if you guys want to get ready, we'll just wait a few more minutes for everybody to hop on, and we'll get started. Hey Zavy, Zavy's on. Hey guys. Drink lots of hot beverages. All right, is everybody seeing us okay? Is the music interfering? Can you guys even hear it? It's pretty subtle, so.
I can hear it.
Good. It's for us, not you guys. Hello, Zavy. All right, guys. Oh, we'll give it a few more minutes. Look like we're just a little bit early still. This is my first time going live, so I wanted to make sure that I could get on there and get everybody logged on before we get started. Again, all you're gonna need is yourself, some comfy clothes, something to drink.
They wanted the music.
Huh? Yeah, like the music. Yep. I turned it up just a little bit. Some songs are probably louder than others. All right, guys, so I'll go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about what we're doing today. My name is Whitney. I am a massage therapist at Walter Chiropractic and Wellness. I'm also a certified Bowspring yoga teacher. That's what we're going to be doing today at Bowspring. But just like my massages, all the classes I teach are kind of a conglomeration of all the stuff I've learned. So I follow a lot of physical therapists, follow a lot of other styles of yoga. I come from a traditional style of yoga to Bowspring. And I just like general exercise and just having fun, dance modalities, all of that. So today we're actually going to start with some Qigong, because I know all of you guys have been held up in your house. Most of you guys are held up in your house. Either way, you've got some stagnant energy and you've probably been not doing all that physical activity that you normally do. So we're going to start with some Qigong. So it's just some energy exercises. I want you guys to think about the energy all around you. You can envision like yourself in a swimming pool and everything around you is water. And we're just going to start with a nice wide foot stance, and we're just going to start to breathe, and we're just going to inhale the hands up, exhale down in front. Good, so this is the motion. Good, and I really want you guys to start getting the whole body involved. Let those knees bend just slightly. Good, and just start to breathe, and like I said, envision the water all around you, and as you swoop your arms up, you're causing little ripples, little waves in the water, and as you bring your hands down, you're washing that water over yourself, that energy down to the ground. Good. Scoop up a whole bunch of new energy. Good. Let it flow down to the ground. Good. And continue. I just want you guys to breathe and to feel this motion for a little while. Good. Qigong is a really good way to get your blood pumping, get your blood moving, get your energy flowing, and just kind of warm up all over. Good. And so we're going to move on to another warm-up Qigong. So we're going to make sure that we have a nice bent stance. Sit the butt back a little bit. We're just going to inhale the hands up like we're painting a wall. Exhale. Swipe your brush down. Good. And your hands are just like little paintbrushes, and you're just Making little ripples in that energy in front of you. Painting the wall with your fingertips. Good. Good, and really make it your own. Flow with your own breathing pattern. Get really nice and comfortable in your body. See if you can't move every little bit. See if you can't squat down. Let the ankles really feel it. Grab the toes into the ground. Inhale, reach that head up. Reach that whole body. Good, exhale. Good, paint the wall. Good, hey Rowena. Good. Hello everybody joining. We're just doing some breathing exercises, some qigong to get started. Good. As we inhale, we just rise those arms up. As you exhale, paint the wall. Good. For those of you joining, all you're going to need is a mat. Well, you don't really need a mat. All you're going to need is some comfy clothes in yourself. You can go ahead and get started. We're just working some breathing exercises. Really getting those ribs loosened up. Good. And so now we're going to start to talk about the spine, and we're going to get into our yoga class today. So I want everybody to look down at your feet, and I want you to stand hip width apart. So I want your feet to line up with your hip bones, right? And I want you to take a nice big deep breath. Lift that head up and relax. Good. We're going to start to focus on the 3 areas of the spine. The main thing that makes bowspring different is we focus on those natural curves. So let's start with the radiant heart, this thoracic curve. So I want you guys to let your arms float out in front of you. Take a nice globe hand. Good. So just softly let each fingertip touch and then kind of pull that energy out. See how my elbows kind of widened? Good. Think about relaxing your shoulders down, letting those elbows pull wide, like somebody grabbed a hold of you and is pulling you out to the side. Good. Let those shoulders float away from that neck. Good. Good. Still breathing here. Good. So when we start to relax those shoulders and let them float on that rib cage, instead of pulling them back, then we can start to get this nice curve in that thoracic spine, right? We want that curve to go this way. So this is our heart curve. This is our radiant heart. Start to take a deep breath and really exaggerate opening that rib cage. Good. Start to think about like someone just grabbed right underneath of your rib cage here and here. And as you inhale, really pull it out. Really puff that chest out like a gorilla, right? But don't let it pull those shoulders back. Let those shoulders just float there like little boats on the ocean. Good. Good. So once we start to find this round thoracic curve, then we can start to find this lumbar curve. So we think about this as our hips, okay? So if we spend a lot of time tucking our hips, then we're flattening out our spine, and we always have our butt up underneath of us. So I want you to start to bend your knees and get your butt behind you, but I also want you to think about this circle. Let it rotate forward. Good. Let the butt slide back. Good. So we want to start to keep our butt behind us the whole class today. I want you to start to think about your hip creases. And I want them to be just that. I want them to be a crease. They should never be flat, and we should never be popping those hip bones forward, right? Start to get really deep in your hip creases. Good, bend your knees. So now when we do this, we might find that our weight is in our heels, right? And that's not where I want you to be during bowspring. So if your weight is in your heels, I want you to start to lean that heart forward. Good. Until the weight is in the whole pad of the foot. I want the whole pad of your foot really digging down the ground, and I want you to grab a hold of it with your toes. Good. So we've got our heart circle. We've got our hip circle. And now I want to start to think last but not least about the head, because this is what's really going to control that cervical curve. So when we think about the head, I want you to think about a diagonal line coming out your chin and out the top of the crown of your head, okay? This diagonal line to the ground. And we spend so much time sliding forward and down. I want you guys to think about pulling up and back. Good. So we've got a nice round thoracic spine. We've got our lumbar curve, and I want you to start to push that head up and back. Good, and really, really reach. Good. So I want you to start to root and rise. So in the bowspring, the root and rise is this constant movement that we do, right? And just continue to follow along with Catherine. Good. Good. See what she's doing? So as you inhale, you expand and fill yourself up like a balloon, like literally fill that rib cage up like a balloon and press that head up to the ceiling. As we exhale, get super deep in the groins and sit the butt back. Good. We call this a root and rise because bowspring is not a static practice. It's a dynamic practice because we know that the body doesn't like to be stagnant. We know it doesn't like to be still. So every movement we get into, we deepen that by rooting and rising. Good. Breathing. Good. So now that we've thought about all three of these sections of the body, so we can control those natural curves of the spine, let's start to take an ecstasy arm. So let your arms float out forward. Good. Good. Take a nice deep breath, always filling up this rib cage. This is how we take the weight off that lower body, right? If we tuck all the time and then we start to relax the belly and let that lumbar spine go, if we feel that crunch in there, we feel a lot of pressure, it's because we're still sinking with that upper body. I want you guys to breathe. Inhale, fill up that rib cage like a balloon, and then let those shoulders relax. Good. And continue to follow Catherine. So go ahead and turn your palms in facing you. Good. And we'll come into like a chin-up bar position. Good. Remember, we've got our nice bowspring zigzag. Nature doesn't build in straight lines. So we've got our butt behind us. We've got our rib cage full. My heart is forward, so the weight's in my feet, not my heels. Good. And so I've got a pull-up bar position. Again, relax the shoulders down and out. Everybody take 3 really deep breaths with me. Inhale, exhale out your armpits. Yeah, it's really weird, right? Take a big deep breath in. Blow up that rib balloon. Exhale out of your armpits. Really envision that energy flowing out. Start to press those elbows forward. Good. And then just start to curl those fingertips. Start to feel this ball of energy in your hands. And now I want you to just kind of hollow your wrists backwards. Good. And turn your hands out to the pinky edge a little bit. When we start to get into these really deep postures like this, you'll start to feel it engage the muscles and the fascia all along the way. So continue those arms into ecstasy position. So we're just going to softly cup the sides of our head, right? Good. So just softly cup your temples. Good. Keep those elbows nice and tight in. This is what gets super important here. Because if you notice, when I pull my elbows out to the side, it's pinching those shoulder blades back. It's flattening my thoracic spine. I want to keep my elbows tight in forward, and you're going to find such a lovely stretch down the fascia, down the muscles, all down the side. Good. So let's take a moment and really dig deep into this posture because it's so lovely. Good. So, Catherine, if you would turn to the side for me. So I want you guys to think about 3 different things. I want you to think about pushing those elbows forward. So really push into me here. Good. I want you to think about the head rooting up and back. Good. And then I want you to think about the shoulders pushing down and forward, breathing out of those armpits. So we have this triangle of motion, of tensegrity. So I'm pushing my elbows forward, I'm pulling my head back, and I'm letting those shoulders stay down. Good. You can go ahead and turn back forwards. And I want you to think about also, when we say push those shoulders down, make sure they're wide, right? We don't want to be up here, we want to be way down here. So really push those shoulders down and wide. Good. Let's take a few deep breaths. Good. Good. And so just softly, we're pushing that head back into the hands, creating a nice tension. Start to let your head root up and back even more, even more. And start to soften your belly. So I've got my butt way behind me. And I'm just going to start to soften my belly and breathe into my rib cage. Start to feel the stretch in through here. Good. You feel the stretch, Catherine?
Oh, I feel it.
Good.
I'm nice and warm.
Did you feel the stretch on your first class?
No, probably not.
Probably not. It takes a while to get into this, you guys. So just go through the motions with us. It'll click. Good. So we're going to start to arc, but first I want to find some slide in the hips. Good. So if my butt is back and my hip creases are deep, and I just kind of bend one knee, bend the other, then you'll find kind of this swivel action, right? Good. Swivel. Good. Good. So swivel it over to the left. Good. And so just stay there. I want you to get super deep in this leg. I want you to notice that this standing leg, my knee is super bent. My butt is really sitting out there, almost like I'm going to sit on a stool with just that leg, right? And go ahead and let your right heel start to hover just a little bit. And I don't want you to do that by lifting the heel. I want you to think about pulling that right knee into your belly. Good. So I'm thinking about pulling this knee into my belly, but I'm grabbing a hold of the ground so I'm not letting it go anywhere. I'm going to start to arc up and over to the left. But I don't want you guys to think about it as letting the head fall that way or shortening down this side. I want you to start to think about it like you're crawling up out of this right side rib cage. Good. And I want you to really start to expand between each one of your ribs and keep that length, right? So even here, she's sitting down into her hip creases, super deep on both legs. She's got her shoulders down and wide, elbows nice and in tight. Good, and she's got her head pushing long. I'm still reaching my head up. I've still got this triangle of tensegrity I've created up here that's lifting my head up off of me. Good. And just breathe and make sure that your body doesn't go past where your legs are. You don't want to be feeling an intense stretch right here on the side of the rib. I want to really be feeling it all along the way on the inside here, on the shoulder. Good. Let your chin rise, let your head root back. Good. And as we rise, we inhale because we're lighter when we're full of air, just like a balloon. So inhale. Rise up. Good. And bring yourself back to earth stance. So feet are hip width apart. Good. Give it a shake. Remember, bowspring is a dynamic practice. We're always moving, always keeping it going, right? Give me a thumbs up if you guys are still hanging in there. Good. Give me some comments if any of you guys have any questions. Good. And we're going to go to the next side. So inhale those arms up. Good. Good. Always with my root and rise. I'm always inhaling, exhaling, sitting my butt back. And the point of this is I'm trying to pull my 3 circles off of each other, right? We're always succumbing to gravity. I'm trying to sit my butt down and leave it there while I pull my rib cage up and leave it there and pull my head up off my body and leave it there. Good. So start to swivel those hips just like we did before. Good. And start to sit over to that right side now. Good. So even here, I'm sitting into my right side, super deep in that hip crease, and I want to grab a hold of the ground with my toes on my left foot, especially that big toe. Lift your toes up and then grab a hold of the ground. Like, can you see my toes? Good. And then start to pull that knee up into your belly, but it's like the belly's pulling down as well, right? The foot's not leaving the ground. That's just going to be a really strong anchor for you. Pull that foot back in towards you. Keep this tensegrity we've created, right? Good. And we're going to start to arc up and over to the right. And again, don't think about closing this side. Think about opening this side. Good. Use the breath. Good. Take a few times to get there. Good. Hey, Amy. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Tom. Thanks to you guys for joining. You can go ahead and hop in. We're almost done with this side, and we'll move on to a new position. You can hop in there. You can just wait a little bit and rewind. And start from the beginning. Good. And remember that tension. We're pushing up, through, out, and over. Good. Keep those elbows nice and tight in. Start to root the head back. Let the chin rise. Good. Good, and as we come back up, we inhale first, right? Because the balloon is lighter when it's full of air. Good, start to sit the butt back. Good. So let's start to shift the weight again, just like we were doing before. Get nice and deep in the hip creases. Good. Inhale that rib cage up off of you. Relax the shoulders. And then just start to sway it around side to side. Good. The reason we put ourselves in this posture is we're trying to get the psoas out of it. We're trying to engage those glutes. Most of us put our glutes in retirement. And we're using our lower abdominals. And then we're putting a lot of pressure in that hip joint, right? Let's start to put the pressure in the glutes. Let's start to put this stress in the soft tissues because they're built to rebuild. Good. So let's shift the weight over to the left. And I'm just gonna pay attention to my right foot for a minute. And this is gonna be hard if you're on a mat or carpet. If you're on wood floor, it's great. But I just want you to lift your heel just ever so slightly. Actually, scratch that. Don't lift your heel. I want you to pull your knee up into your belly. And then I want you to hollow your ankle. And if you do all of that, then your heel will just hover off the ground just a little bit. Okay? Good. That's where it's coming from. And then I just want you to lift those toes up. Curl the toes down. And then just slide that foot back ever so softly. Good. Good. So, now we've come into our lunge. Difference between a bowspring lunge and a regular lunge. My feet are about hip width apart this way. This way, I'm very shallow. Yep, in normal lunges, we're way down here. We're popping the front of that hip bone out. Here, we're super deep in both hip creases, right? I've got maybe 1.5 feet, one of my 1.5 feet distances between my 2 feet. And let's just start to breathe and find this position. Can you turn this side for me? Good. So as you can see, Catherine's feet here, not so far apart. And what she's really thinking about is this hip circle here is rotating this direction, but her butt is coming behind to her, and her knees are actually pulling forward. So if you actually grab a hold of the ground, and then think about your knees pulling in forward. Just do that a little bit. See how when you pull your knees forward, it kind of squats you down a little bit? Just play with that motion. Good. Stay nice and round. Notice how she's staying nice and full in the rib cage here. Good. And then that head is rooting up, up, up long. Good. And so we're going to just root and rise here a little bit. Exhale, sit down. See if you can't leave that there as you inhale, rise up. Good. See how I held her hips and still her upper body rose? Good. Go ahead and forward again. Good. So we're in our lunge. Let's take an ecstasy arm. This is where we get so therapeutic for the spine, right here. Good. So we're thinking about those 3 curves, right? We're not ever going to flatten any one of them. And I want you to start to root your head back. So we're putting our spine into extension. Okay? And then once we've got our spine into extension, super important, I'm pulling my head up off. I'm pulling my head long and back. Then I'm going to start to just twist upper body, open to the left very slowly. Keeping those elbows super tight in. And I want you to think about keeping your nose right in line with your sternum. And I only want you to go as far as you can, keeping that nose in line with the sternum. I don't want any of this. I don't want any other kind of wonkiness. Good. Keep it small, keep it strong. Good. So we put our spine into extension, and now we're twisting. Good. When you find the end of that twist, start to let your chin rise, let your head root back. Good. Finding even more of an extension in that cervical spine. Good. Unravel. Good. So now that we've put our spine to extension and we've rotated, we're going to put our spine to extension and we're going to laterally flex. So get those curves. Get all 3 curves going. We've got a lumbar spine. We've got a thoracic spine. We've got that head rooting up and back. That neck is soft in the front. Belly is soft in the front. And I'm just going to arc up and over. We'll go left first. Good. Just arc up and over to the left. Good, and keep following along with Catherine. So like I said, we put our spine through all 3 ranges of motion, and we're really starting to get in there and create movement in between each single vertebra. Good, and you can do what Catherine's doing here. Because once you get really deep over, it can start to crunch in that shoulder there. So if you bring it around, then you can keep these muscles from contracting. Good, take a nice big deep breath, and we'll come back to center. We're not gonna live there very long. We're gonna go to the other side. Good, again, remember that belly is soft, rib cage is full, head is rooting back, up and over to the right. Good, still super deep in our hip creases. Good, really holding on to the ground, yeah.
Woo.
Woo.
Not as easy on this one.
Not as easy. Catherine is a pro bow springer, but she was in a car accident not too long ago. I'd say within the past 6 months it was, maybe? Yeah.
July.
And she's doing amazing.
Nice memories.
Yeah, and so she did, the whole shebang, physical therapy, all of that treatment. And she said that a lot of the cues we give in bowspring are very similar to those that they do in physical therapy, really trying to fill up that rib cage, start to focus on those natural curves of the spine. Good, inhale back to center. Good. And so let's just take a moment and find some motion here in our low lunge, or our high lunge. We're just bouncing, just working the glutes, strengthening those hip creases. Good. And so I want you to take that back foot, right foot, and we're just gonna pivot that heel down. Good. And so this is, let's see here, tribal stance, I guess we call it. The only difference between regular yoga and this stance is obviously we have our curves going, we have our hip creases deep, our knees are bending, and then our feet aren't at a drastic perpendicular angle. The back foot is kind of angled towards the front as well. Good. And let's take an ecstasy. Good. So really sit your butt back on this one. So this is almost like some kind of side squat, right? So I'm really sitting my butt deep, and then just cheetah lunge it for a little while. Bend one knee, straighten it, bend the other one. Just find this track of motion that your body naturally floats on. Good. Keeping that rib cage nice and round, keeping that head rooting up. Good. So ecstasy arm. Find yourself in the middle, and we're going to start to lean and arch that body up and over towards that front leg. Good. We're going to take a few breaths, and then we're going to take that forearm, that left forearm down to the thigh. Good. Very good. So my forearm is down to the thigh. My pelvic bowl is still open to this side wall, but I'm starting to slide my upper body up and forward. You're eventually, if you were looking in front of a mirror when you started, you would be gazing at yourself in the mirror like Catherine here. What's super important about this one is I'm super deep in my back hip crease. So she's super deep in this back hip crease. Her pelvic bowl is tilted. So when she's pulling up and through, she's feeling this stretch all the way from the bottom of the pelvic bone all the way up around the side of the shoulder, all the way up through the neck. Good. Remember to push the head long. Even here with just one arm in ecstasy, we've got this tension, this shoulders down, elbows forward, head is back. Good. Good. And take your gaze to the side wall, and then start to let your head just tilt down to the ground, just slightly. Good, and we'll sit back deep into our hip crease. Go ahead and bring this right arm out into a V-vector. Good, remember that shoulder, that shoulder is not pulled back over here. That shoulder is pushing round. Good, we'll sit deep back into that back leg. Take a nice deep breath and inhale back up to center. Good, and so when we stick our arms out like this too, we'll work on this in just a minute. But when we start to really stick our arms out, we're using it, it can be a crutch or it can really help you, right? So let's go to the other side. So let's start to bounce that back foot, bring it forward. Good. Give me a thumbs up if you're still hanging in there. Yeah, I'm about to have to turn the heat up for Catherine. Turn the air up. She's really sweating over here. I'm only doing half of what you guys are doing, so good. Come to your earth stance like Miss Catherine here. Bend those knees, sit the butt back, get round in all 3 curves. And then just start to shift the weight side to side. Hey guys, yeah. Start to shift the weight side to side. Good, and we'll bring the weight over to that right side. Good, and we're just gonna sit right into that stool. That's imaginary stool, good. So, take a moment, think about, look down at your left foot. I want you to lift your toes up, just your toes, mind you, not your whole foot pad, just your toes. And then curl them and then let them fall back down. Good. Do that a few times. Let's see if you can see. Yeah, can you guys see my foot? So the reason we do this is because your stability and everything starts from the ground up. And actually, if you have a good foot posture, then it should mimic the curves of the spine, right? We've got a cervical curve, a thoracic curve, and then that lumbar curve. A double S curve, if you will. Good, so we're sitting over to the right. We've found this curve in the foot. And just slide that foot back. Good, a lot easier for me because I'm on the wood floor. Good, so now we're in our high lunge. We just did this on the other side. Just for a refresher, her feet are about hip width apart from the front, from the side, not too far apart, right? Good. From the side, we've got maybe 1.5 feet, a human foot, one of your own foots in half in between your feet. Good. And again, we are not popping those hip creases. We're not popping this hip crease out, especially like we do in normal yoga. We're going to bend those knees up into the belly. Get deep in the hip creases. Relax the belly. Take the belly out of it. Engage in the glutes. Good. Get round. Good. And we're going to work that spine again. So, ecstasy arms. Good. We're always rooting and rising. If you notice her breathing. Beautiful. So fill up that rib cage. Flex that spine backwards. So we just curl, curl, curl. And then we're going to root that head up and back. Good. And then we're going to, let's see, we'll twist, right? We did that first. Twist over to the right. And I want you to keep that chin nice in line with the sternum. And I only want you to go as far as you can go, keeping that chin in line with the sternum. Good. Once we find the end of that twist, start to root that head up and back even more. Good. Elbows nice and tight in, everybody. That's a big one we don't get in the beginning. Those elbows need to be super tight into the nose. Good. Bring it back to the center. Good. And now we're going to keep that extension on the spine and we're going to start to arc up and over. We'll go left first this time since we're doing both sides. And for me, I get a lot of issues right up here in my shoulder. And this stretch is like one of my most favorite. When you get the tension, when you get the shoulders down, the elbows forward, the head rooting it back. And then you start to arc over. I really feel it all down this side. I feel it right there in that spot. Woo. Good. Good. And again, remember to keep the butt back and keep that heart pushing forward even here. Keeping that weight in the toes and the foot pads. Good. Inhale, take a nice big breath. Rise up through the pushing of that head, right? Push that head up and tall and just go straight to that other side. Good. And even here, she's pushing up into my hand. Good. And she's still pushing forward, sitting the butt back. Good. Very nice. Yes. Breathing. Good. Notice how she corrected herself there. Got those shoulders, those elbows a little tighter into the shoulders. Good. Good. One more deep breath and then we'll rise back to center. Good. So, let the hands rise up. Let the butt, well, go ahead. Yep, bring your feet back to earth stance, my bad. Good. Well, I guess we skipped side coil. Look at me. Look at me getting ahead of myself, you guys. Good. So let's go back to, y'all stay where you were. Good, let's get that high lunge that we had. Good, left foot is back. Let that left heel pivot down. Good, and so now open yourself up to this side wall, right? And then start to find this cheetah lunge. So I'm just bending and straightening one knee and the other and finding this natural track that my body rolls along. Good. We'll take an ecstasy arm. Good, I'm going to start to arc up and forward towards my mirror wall. Good. Really using my breath to get me there. Really fill up that balloon. If you're ever feeling heavy, use your breath to fill up and lighten. Good, eventually we'll bring this forearm down to the thigh. Good. And again, some of the main points, we want to stay super deep, especially in this back hip crease. When we're in positions like this, then we tend to really pop this leg out, right? We tend to really want to stick it out like that. I want you to keep it super deep and into the belly so that we can rise up out of this. Good. Good, and I want you to go ahead and start to take your gaze towards that side wall and let your head curl down. Let your head just kind of fall down. Just let gravity take a hold. Good, one more deep breath. Good, inhale, fill up that rib cage, rise up. Good, bring it back forward, good, and we're gonna cool down. Good, we went overtime just a little bit. If you guys wanna hang in there, we'll do just a little bit of a cool down. If you guys gotta go, thanks for showing up. Give us a thumbs up. Good, so if you're still hanging in there, go ahead and reach the arms out forward, sit the butt back. Good, we're gonna come into a bowspring forward fold. Go ahead and turn sideways for me, Katie. Good, good. So bowspring forward fold is more like you're about to hike a football between your legs, right? Because there's literally no way to come down here and keep my lumbar spine if I'm doing this, right? So really keep that lumbar spine curved, really get super deep into hip creases. So go ahead and put a finger there and you can bury your finger in those hip creases. Yep, good. So if you're super flexible, you're gonna be on the ground like Miss Catherine is. If you're not, then you're probably gonna have a block. Or anything really. I like to use a chair too to hold on to because the main thing here is I want to stay long down my spine. So she's sitting her butt back, keeping this pelvic bowl tipping down. She's staying nice and full in the rib cage and keeping that head nice and long. Good. Go ahead and turn back forward. We'll go ahead and plant the hands, walk it out.
Into a cat.
Yep. And go ahead and lower down. Good. And just lower down onto your knees. Good, and we'll go ahead and come down into Shavasana or corpse pose, is that what they call it? Good, so go ahead and sit over to one side or the other, bring your knees together, good. Reach that arm out long. We're gonna come down to the ground lying on your back. Good, and Sonia said she feels it in her low back. Yeah, that's okay. As long as it doesn't feel like a crunching, you might feel like a stretching. Again, this is good why I love a class in person, so I can see you guys and see what you're doing. Usually when we feel it in the low back, it's because we're still holding on with the internal muscles in the front. Or it's that we're pulling these shoulders back, which actually flattens the spine and causes more pressure down into that lumbar. So we can work on that again. I think next week we'll do just a lumbar spine class. If you guys give me a thumbs up, then we'll know that's the one we'll do. If you're laying on the ground with Miss Catherine, I want you to go ahead and take your hands and pull your butt cheeks out from under you. Good. Because even here, I want your tailbone sitting down, your sit bones pointing down to the ground. I want a nice little lumbar curve rising up. Yeah, see how she's sliding her hand under there so she knows that it's there? But I don't want to force it. I want it to be soft. I want it to be gradual. Good. She's just going to lay her hands on her belly and then let her hands slide out long. Good. And we're just going to finish with another breathing exercise. So take a deep breath right into your hands and your lower belly. If you notice she's got her hands right on that lower belly, just start to breathe into your hand space. Good, and just walk those hands up just a little bit. Good. Right into that lower lobe, right into that very bottom of your ribs. Now let's really breathe into that area. Feel that area expand. And really exaggerate here. If you can start to unlock the breath so much that you feel a stretch just from breathing in, then we're really starting to engage those internal muscles. Good, and last but not least, you can leave your hands where they are, but I want you to start to breathe into your collarbone, into your heart center, into that upper chest. And as you exhale, I want you to relax your jaw, relax your tongue, relax your palate. Good, so you guys can take as much time here as you like, cooling down, breathing. This is a great class for you to do with a partner if you are at home with another person. Just like I did with Catherine, how I kind of held her hips down and let her climb up out, as well as just these very gentle cues. Just putting the hand on the top of the head can help someone reach even further, or like I did for her elbows. Whenever we have our in-person classes, then we're always doing a lot of hands-on, and we often partner up. So if you do have someone at home, play this back on another time, and take turns practicing that with each other. If you have any questions, leave them here. We'll answer them. If you have any suggestions for a class or anything specific you want to work on next week, go ahead and write that down, and we'll try and hit those. If you have anything specific that's bothering you next week, go ahead and sign on a little early and give me a little heads up, and we'll work on that specifically in class. So thank you guys for joining. Give me a thumbs up. Good. You feel good, Catherine?
I feel great.
Catherine is sweating, and she definitely got a good workout. So even though it was 30 minutes and it was, beginner gentle yoga, everybody can do it. You guys definitely got a good workout. So bye.